On today's episode, we will talk about my continued pastel fade sweater, a finished weaving project, as well as a new planned project for my loom. Hey everyone, I'm Marina and this is Pineapple Knits. This is my channel dedicated to knitting, spinning, and weaving. You can connect with me on social media at Pineapple Yarn, and you can connect with me on my website at pineappleyarn.com. It's so great to be with all of you today. I'm coming to you from coastal South Carolina, where spring is definitely here. I'm so excited, and as a matter of fact, I pulled out my spring sweater that I absolutely love. This is my Sunshine Coast sweater by Heidi Kirrmaier. I have talked about this so much on this channel because I love it. This pattern is so wonderful. The shaping is so flattering for so many different body sizes and body shapes. And I knit this from a yarn called Bamboo Pop. I will put all details below. Basically, it is a mixture of bamboo and cotton and maybe nylon. I'm not exactly sure. I can't exactly remember, but it was kind of a pain to knit with. I'm being totally honest, but the finished result is beautiful. It is so wearable. I knit this with kind of like 3/4 length sleeves, and it's just really lightweight and drapey. It washes beautifully, and I cannot tell you how much I love this sweater, and I wear it all the time in real life. So it's definitely a wonderful project. And I was actually just talking to one of my kids the other day, reminiscing about Bamboo Pop, and thinking that I think I need to make another sweater from Bamboo Pop because this one gets so much wear. I definitely recommend it. And this year will be the same as all the others. I will be wearing it all the time. I also lit a new scent of candle today. This is Cucumber Slices. It is available in my shop right now. It is crisp and cool cucumber, but it's rounded out with cucumber blossoms. And so you get this wonderful, clear, crisp fragrance, but it's just that kind of the edges are a little softened with a very, very slight floral. And there's no mistaking the scent. It's cucumber through and through, but it's a really well-rounded fragrance. I love it. So if you are looking for a wonderful spring and summer fragrance, definitely check that out in the shop now. All right, let's move on to my pastel fade sweater. I've made a fair amount of progress this week. Not as much as I'd like, but that's life. I had a lot going on this past week. I had a lot of interruptions with my knitting time, my crafting time. So that's life. That's just the way it goes. But this is where I got to this week. As you can see, I added the ribbing for my cuffs and the bottom. And I have picked up and started to knit right here along the neckline. This pattern is called the Kids Basic Raglan Sweater. It's by McMillan. I have had it in my Ravelry library for years. And so when I was looking to knit a sweater for my 7-year-old, I decided to go with something I already had looked through my library, and there this very simple sweater was. I was so excited, and the pattern so far has been amazing. I did size down on needles. That is usual for me. So the yarn is a variety of clubs from 2020, the variety of my Glow Club, my Sun Club. I also have kind of this yellow minty in here. This is Little Paper Umbrellas, which is stocked in my shop. And then if you go down a little further, here's some of this paler. Let's see if I can get a good shot of it. Right in here is Hazy Sunrise. This is a really beautiful clear pastel. And so I do have a couple of in-stock colorways in here, but most of them are clubs. And so it was just so cool going through all of these kind of sample skeins that I had knit or that I dyed up that they all work together. I thought that was so cool. And so how I'm knitting the sweater, I am joining, they're all fingering weight. And so I'm knitting colors 1 and 2 together for 2 inches, and then switching to colors 2 and 3, knitting those for 2 inches, then switching to colors 3 and 4, knitting those for 2 inches, and so forth. The reason I settled on 2 inches is because I basically looked at the finished measurements for the sweater and looked at the number of skeins I had, the number of different combinations I was going to have, and did a little simple math, and that's how I settled upon that. And so many of you might remember from last week, I was wondering what color I was going to do on the ribbed trim, if you will. And I just went with a neutral, natural colored wool. The reason I did that, to be perfectly honest, is because I already had it caked up. So I'm just being perfectly honest. If I would have had, maybe a color like Pearl, which is a color from my shop that's a really neutral, beautiful, pale gray, that would have been really nice. I could have done Pale Peach, again, a super beautiful pale shade of peach that is in the shop. I could have used any of those. But this is the first one I found. It was already caked up. It's a DK weight, so it matches the 2 strands of fingering held together in the sweater. And I couldn't be happier about it. I think it looks really good. So not a lot of thought process put into that, but that's okay. It's turning out great. So let me just show you really quickly before I move on from this project. I just wanted to show you what I'm doing as far as steeking. Right here, I'm doing a 1x1 rib. And right here, I'm just knitting plain stockinette in the rib. And so I don't even know if you can see that, but both here and then up here on the neck, instead of a 1x1 rib all the way across, just those extra stitches that I put in for the steek, I'm just knitting as stockinette. So when I do my crochet reinforcement rows, I will do 2 single crocheted rows all the way up and then cut between those rows. It'll just be flat. It'll be able to just turn to the inside, and I'll stitch it down, and that'll be that. So yeah, hopefully I'll get some time to work on this week, and then I can share with you a finished project next week. That'd be very exciting. So that's really it for the pastel fade sweater. I don't think I missed any details. If you have any questions, definitely leave me a comment below. I'll be happy to answer. But that being said, let's move on to my next project. So I did finish the weaving project I was working on, and I'm going to share some footage here that I took of it. This was a gift knit for one of my friends. It was kind of going out on a limb. I wasn't really sure if it was going to work because I couldn't find, I did a brief amount of research online and couldn't find any other projects that used this. And so what I did is I used I'm pretty sure it was an 8 ends per inch heddle. Again, all the details will be below. I warped with a sock yarn, a fingering weight yarn. It was on my Lonnie sock base. It's called Moody Peacock, and it is a mini skein set that is available in the shop. So these beautiful jewel toned purples and greens and blues. And then I used a skein of lace weight mohair silk, and it's a colorway that I've had in the shop. I don't dye it anymore. It's called Pale Mauve. And it was the perfect complement color. It was so gorgeous. I left a little bit of space as I would beat, so it kind of echoed the spacing of the fingering weight warp. And it turned out really great. The only thing that I had issues with is that it was so loose, I felt like I could poke my finger right through, like when I would pick it up. It was very loose. And so what I did And I do appreciate all of your comments so much. They're incredibly helpful. So thanks to all of you who weighed in on my weaving issues. But what I did is I gave it a good soak in Eucalan and some very warm water. It was very warm. And then I just air dried it. It did tighten up a little bit. So that mohair did full up a little bit. It did fill in a lot of the spaces. It still was very, very airy and light. And then I just trimmed the fringe. I just had knotted fringe at the end, trimmed it, and it was done. It was a very, very easy project there at the end. And I think it turned out really pretty. So I'm not going to completely eliminate it from my repertoire of possible weaving ideas down the line. I don't know if I will do it again anytime soon, to be honest, because I have another project. I have another project that I cannot wait to share with you. So I think I've mentioned on my episodes before, maybe just in the comments, that one of the channels that I really love and I find a lot of inspiration from is Fiber Love Diary. And Trish from that channel is just super inspirational. She's always doing so many projects. She is carding bats, she's spinning, she's weaving. She does so many fun things, and I feel like she kind of just dives in and does them, which I love. I love that about her. But I have been watching, I think last year, she started posting videos on her dish towels that she weaves on the rigid heddle. And so I'm sure I've mentioned it a number of times. That's something that I have really, really wanted to start weaving. So I recently just purchased a whole box of 8-2 cotton from the Woolery. And that's where one of the places, I found many places online, but they had a really good selection of 8-2 cotton. And so I'll throw a link below. And I got some really fun colors. I have a dish towel project planned with some of these awesome colors. So the colors I plan on doing my first dish towel project with are this beautiful blue. This is blue. And I have this gorgeous turquoise, which is the exact same color as my sweater. So I'll be using those. I'm using a number of colors, so they're not all going to fit. This beautiful, let's see, this is fuchsia. So those look really good together. I'm also going to add this gorgeous chartreuse color. Let's see what this is called. Vert Nil. So it's a really pretty green, chartreusey color, lilas. These are all, a lot of these are French names. So this really pretty like lilac color. And one more, this is a dark purple, mauve pale. So it's a deep purple. And so I'm gonna do all of these. I'm also going to use this white. It's not called white, it's called Blanqui. So it's just white. And let me show you this little SketchUp. This is so funny. I have this is what my SketchUps look like. Basically, I took the invoice from the box and grabbed my kids' crayons. And so you can see all of my math. I had to redo math. I had to do all kinds of things. I used Trish's measurements. So she used a 12.5 ends per inch heddle. That's what I'm using as well. She did 251 ends. I'm going to be doing, whatever this says right here, what does it say? 252. And the only reason is because you're double warping it. You're putting 2 strands into the slots and into the eyes of the reed. And so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the lilac, the blue, chartreuse, dark purple, turquoise, magenta, and then reverse it. And in between each color, I'm going to do a little stripe of white. That's what the warp's going to look like. And then all this, we were just testing out colors. So that's, I don't know what that is. And then you can tell I was doing other calculations. So anyway, that's kind of my plan. I probably will use the white for the weft and maybe add in some other colors, just seeing how it weaves up. I will use I have a boat shuttle. It's a very lightweight boat shuttle. It's made of plastic, and if I remember, I will link it below. I've used it on some other projects and really, really loved how it worked out on my rigid huddle. And so I don't know if like an actual like wooden boat shuttle would work very well, but this one is awesome because it's so lightweight. And so I will link it below in case you're interested. I'll keep you updated as far as it all goes. Hopefully I'll have time to warp it up this week. I don't know if last week was as crazy as this week, or if this week is as crazy as last week. I don't know if I'll be able to, but fingers crossed, I will be able to get it started. I did start filming another video for you all, how I knit my socks, just sock knitting on a circular sock machine. And I was hoping to have all that filming done this week. Again, got interrupted. I only knit one sock. And so hopefully this weekend I can knit the other sock and then get that video up for you. I'm knitting it with my colorway Sea Prize, and it's turning out so good. I love it so much. So keep an eye out for that. I'm sorry that it's delayed, but in the next few weeks, I will have that going and some more content for you. Just a heads up, after this, I will be filming my shop update preview video. That will be going on YouTube about the same time this episode. So if you are interested in what's going into my shop this Friday, which is March 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern time at pineappleyarn.com, definitely keep an eye out for that shop update preview video. It's just a fun video. It's super fun to look at yarn and see what yarn pairs well together, maybe what yarn fades well together. I love watching videos like that, so hopefully you do too. It's a really fun video to record. And one more thing, next week on April 1st, I will be releasing the pre-orders for my 2021 Advent calendar. I haven't released the theme yet. I haven't released the mood board yet. So I cannot wait until April 1st for all of you to see this year's theme. I've already been working on it for several months. Actually, since last year, I've been working on it. This year's gonna be the best year ever. I've been doing this for several years now. It's always a beach-themed Advent calendar, so it's gonna be super fun. Keep an eye out. April 1st, it goes live on my shop. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. If you liked this video, if you liked the content, if you found it valuable, please give it a thumbs up. I'll be back next week with another episode. Until then, I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.